Well, I hope I typed in what I was supposed to, where I was supposed to. And this is actually 9 minutes before start. Well, I hope I typed in what I was supposed to, where I was supposed to. And this is actually 9 minutes before start. Well, I'm hearing myself. I don't know if that's supposed to happen. Oh, good, that stopped. So if you're here, know that this is all preparatory. And I know I'm nervous because I was freezing. I had on 3 layers and a scarf. And I just took the scarf off and I just took the sweater off. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I think I'm going to go get a sip of something. I'm going to move this. I'm doing a little fussing, but my fingers couldn't type, so I really wanted to be here as people might arrive. For those of you who might, like me, like to be early. Be early to be on time, only because I know if I left anything to the last minute, what might go wrong would go wrong. And let's see, if I hold this up, hopefully you can see this. And if I hold this up, and hopefully it won't count until 7 o'clock, so 7 more minutes to go. Let's see, what else can I show? Oh, maybe show this. Oop, is it showing? It looks backwards. That's reading better than this is. But there's a little thing that was on my webpage that's not here, which lets me see the voice level and all of that. It's like I'm peering in. Okay, so we've done that. And people may start appearing at 6:55. And let's see, turn this down first. 6:55. Okay, so 6:55. I've made the 6:55. And if you're here, I'm told that the feed is very, very slow, that I won't see your comments for minutes after you post them. So sorry about that. And hope you don't find it too off-putting that I see all these reflections in my eyeglasses. When I, hi Anna, thank you for being here. When I practiced, I realized that it was still sunshine, and it feels very different to do it in what is now night. In fact, the whole daylight savings time change makes everything feel a little different. And I had these nice soft lights, and then when I looked, I realized, Zan, darling, hi. So glad you're here. Oh, this is great to be able to say hi before 7 o'clock strikes. And I was thinking I needed, I'm so not au courant with technology. I was thinking I needed something to help me signal time. And all I've got to do is just look at the top of my screen to see what time it is. So it says Sunday 6:56, so there are 4 more minutes. Thank you, Anna, for the reassurance. That's really great. Oh, so Zan, oh boy, Zan, let's see, is it near me? Oh, I'm gonna move this for a second because I've got Zan there. Zan is a fellow crocheter, and this is my latest creation, Zan, cabled crochet pumpkin. And I made a leaf for it. So as folks are coming in the room, can you see that? So it's my latest pattern, and it's being tested, Zan. And then what else do I want to show Zan and Anna, since the two of you are here ahead of time? This is yucca, and the green goddesses are corn. So I'm also a hand paper maker, and that's my latest effort, doing what I'm calling figured paper, playing with a vacuum table. 2 more minutes to go. Thank you, Zan. Thank you. Oh, yay, someone else saw the pumpkin. Hello, Renee. Thank you for joining. 2 more minutes. I'm glad you liked the pumpkin. And let's see, what else have I, oh, here's something else that's nearby. Okay, I don't know if this reads. So this is an experiment in forming. Usually when I do paper forming, it's not a single sheet of paper, but that's a single sheet of yucca. And yucca filamentosa growing in the Northeast. 1 more minute and I'll stop talking about this other stuff. Yucca filamentosa, a friend planted it for me, and I harvest the leaves and cook them and pulp them and then make paper out of them. And also, and if you were able to see the other figured thing, that was, let's see, just want to do some tiny adjusting. Adjust me. I don't know if it's 30 seconds, but anyway, nice to share. I'm happy I was able to share that before we begin. It's when you have a number of cells, it's sometimes the other cells want to crowd in inappropriately. And hello, everyone. I'm delighted, excited, affirmed, and honored to be here for the final reading of the fabulous Poets in Pajamas reading series. I followed it throughout the year. It's incredible to be able to reach out and speak from my place in what for me is relative exile and to connect to others. Thank you to Poets in Pajamas and Sundress Publications who are doing such stellar, fabulous things. It makes my heart sing even if I wasn't participating. And I look forward to seeing this next year. So thanks and blessings. My name's Akua Lezli Hope, and I thank all of you who are in attendance and all of you who may not be in attendance but who will get to hear me later. I have a couple of friends who are traveling who told me they look forward to the recording. So thank you for that. And I think I'll do this very quickly. I'll be reading several poems from Them Gone, which came out in December of 2018 from The Word Works. And I will begin. My tears still sting, water graveless places, starry, airless spaces of dark and light, strung with long, attenuated strings. Memories, trembling filaments sing their morning songs, keening for beloveds. Long gone sparks that shine but cannot ignite across the void. The only comfort is in distant, bright signal flares, sputtering, incoherent insights. There, we're here. This next poem is the first poem in Them Gone, at 950 Hoe Avenue, the Bronx. The child does not love this place. It is skin, it is light, it is her bubble bath, her curtains lifting, her yellow records on her record player. Let us give 3 cheers for Gaston and Josephine. I'll be a sunbeam for Jesus. Her stack of golden books, her room next to her parents, the long list for God to bless each night, her forbidden shortcut through the alley to school, her treasured malteds at the fountain with daddy with an egg for health, and special Sundays on the boulevard with mommy. She loves them, but not this place. This 5 flights up, these French doors, this first to conquer living space, Castro sofa, pull-out bed where nights of blue glow heaven. She waits with mommy, watching old myths, Flynn, Fontaine, Niven, de Havilland. She does not love the fire escape, where she can glimpse other people's lives, where summer brings baratata musics, where her parents heard John Cage's 777 misplayed, and Miriam Makiba's clicks and trills shaped that age. Nor does she love her friends, black, blonde, brown, beige, where she met yogurt, Hamantaschen, tortillas, grits. It took forever to learn to fight, fit, roller skate. Concrete claimed her knees. She has blooded this place. For her, there was no before. She has not come to after. She does not hold these memories. The adult she becomes summons the ghosts, holds the after, loves that non-existent place. There was a show on TV recently, on PBS, talking about the fires in the Bronx, in the South Bronx. I'm a 3rd generation American and a 3rd generation New Yorker, and I spent the first half of my childhood, of my youth, in the South Bronx, and I loved it and missed it dearly. But now I live in exile in the Southern Finger Lakes of New York, and that's where this next poem takes place. Seneca. The first time your visiting nephew rode Captain Bill's narrative boat, he was afraid. Though the dark, polished wood interior, solid, brown, comforting, with flowered seat cushions, was bright as a Sunday parlor. Sunshine on boat's wake made waves teeth and knives. You know how to swim. Yellow, orange, candy-colored lifesavers overhead. Nothing bad will happen to you, but it already had. Skinny adolescent narrator pauses. Captain details where those before walked. Asaniki, stony place of people whose path is that faint, narrow rock ledge, descending, disappearing into gray, shattering shore wall. Salt mines across this deepest Finger Lake. Another mysterious streaming of stuff from below. All this strangeness and feeling yourself a small, small thing on a big indifference. When coming to this place of exile, I was struck by how the indigenous folks were gone, but the place still held their names. The lakes, Seneca, Onondaga. I live near a street called Cohocton. The names remain, though we don't see the folks. And also, as an African American, there's that feeling of wanting to remember who was here before as well. Who else has blooded this place? Who else has died here? Since Poets in Pajamas included excerpts from this poem, I'm going to read it. And I think I'll say more about it afterwards, but I want to read this beforehand. Back in 2016, a 3.5-year-old boy entered a Cincinnati Zoo gorilla's enclosure, spurring zoo officials to shoot and kill the gorilla. The boy was dragged across a moat by the 450-pound gorilla, but a witness said the gorilla seemed to be protecting him. This poem is called Endangered for Harambe, which is the name of the gorilla. If it were my thing, my stupid lump of boy flesh rushing, heedless, endangered, to thrill, to explore what was not his, never his, always his for the taking, my someday scion, my heir apparent, my never reproached, rarely admonished, my beamish boy, unattended, unhaltered, my twinkling toddler unwatched, my future maker of grandchildren, poison apple of my sty eye, my pride and joy, my fine young man, my gutter cleaner, yard mower, dog walker, my consumer of mass quantities, my someday quarterback, my bedwetter, rug rat, crumb snatcher, piglet, my big diaper guy, my little monkey. If I would have shot that gorilla too while I wailed and boo-hooed and couldn't look, wouldn't watch his possible demise, but it wasn't my idiot tumbling where he belonged, trespassing on another's territory, not mine lacking the sense he should have been born with, not mine slung like a sack of potatoes through the green moat, not mine baptized to the possibilities of fate, ensnaring the innocent silverback, born protector of his dwindling few in the continuing death dance of human caprice. Endangered for Harambe. There's a publication called Rattle that invites poets to submit poems of the moment of the news of that week, and I submitted this in pain over what had happened, and it won. And it was subsequently selected by a brilliant young Dutch composer named Brechtje to be the text for her vocal composition that was the set piece for the lead, I hope I'm saying it lead, or lead duo competition. So I was twice honored in this cri de coeur that others heard it and awarded it, and then also made music of it. So speaking of music, I have great, deep, long, wide, abiding affection for music. My first instrument was I think it was the flutophone, but I studied the violin, the cello, and the bassoon. I was a first cello and bassoon. I sang in choruses. This is as a young person before I gave it all up to try to change the world. And that's another ongoing pursuit of mine. I'm really dedicated to human rights. But music, my father was a jazz aficionado. My mother, who also did like jazz, was into opera and light classical music. All of that to say, and I was a DJ in college, and I was a DJ at Columbia University in New York City, so other people got to hear me DJing. And all of that to say that one of my favorite ever of all persons who existed, and she's no longer on this plane of existence, was the singer Betty Carter. Not solely because I found her music transcendent, but because she established her own label, and this was back in the 70s, her own Betcar label. So she was an example for me in many ways. I got to meet her and interview her, Betty Carter. Filled with horn riffs, flight of the swift, loaded with chirp and twitter, deep tweets, a blur of buttery kisses, a flurry of sonic blows, winds, slow, praline voice when it swoops down to caress your face, sustain in folds and fingers your hear. Her voice is hillock. Her voice is backyard tree between brownstones and gold shoes on Lexington Avenue, figured bass, luscious lute. Postmodern, still ever new, she mothers it, a deepening, crafts it, an excision in the flight, in the landing, her arching tone, a precision. The rolling ball unravels a strip of bright sky. You journey on attenuated sighs. What happens after two strings are plucked? Vibrations, purple motion hums, and you are struck by what enters through your ears and unfolds to gently rearrange your heart. Oh my gosh, time is flying. So the next poem will be about, is about, I didn't know America. New Yorkers don't know America. I now live in America. And there were no flowers within my view in my neighborhood. My neighbor called my fabulous, beloved little apple tree that's on the corner a crabby apple. Oh, that little crabby apple. And my third year here, I donated 300 pounds of delicious apples to the food bank. For years, every time I worked in my yard, I was interrupted, insulted, and harassed. This is soil. Soil. Don't they know those not born to it love it more, cherish it like converts to a foreign faith, hold its wisdom precious, perish for its lack. It's not in the speech around us. So we must study its language with rigor. My grandparents kept it in many pots crowding windows. My parents acquired it so that I could, earlier than they, though later than my sapling siblings, have some to dream on. I wanted to be farmer before I was to be oceanographer, metal lawyer, mother. The short corn was taller than preteen me. Alien, kohlrabi, bush beans, tomatoes, celebrated as miracle by apartment-reared parents who praise my scrawny crops. Tell the gawking this as they watch me tend my garden. Tell them Black folks tilled much soil even as we left it. We hid seeds in cheek pockets, saved core of alligator pears, and guarded the eyes of tubers. We carried it, even as we fled it. Tell them I grew up with radiator arboretums, mayonnaise jar compost of eggshell waters and spent coffee grounds, steam, heat, hot houses, fire escape forests and tenement window hillsides, avocado trees singing tropical songs above guttered snow. Tell them I don't need their bad advice. I know. And it's 7:18, so I'll stop reading. Time goes so fast. Are there any questions? Let me see if there are any. Oh my gosh, I just have to scroll to look. Okay, thank you, Renee. Thank you, Zan. Hi, Courtney LeBlanc. I'm so glad you could tune in too. Maria Hernandez, thank you for your kind words. Hi, Bill. Oh, Courtney, you remember when the thing with Harambe happened. Thank you, Doana. I don't have any questions, and maybe they're still coming. So 7:19, maybe I can squeeze in one more little poem. Oh, that's not little. And you know, most of my work, I tried to pick the shortest things because most of my work goes on and on for pages. I guess I should say a few words about my work. Them Gone, in Them Gone, I talk about not just my parents, although my parents figure prominently in it, but also people that I cared about, people that I loved. It seems that I have many, many dead at this point in time in life. I'm an orphan, and that means that now the responsibility of the generations are on us. I'm the firstborn of the third generation of at least for my mother's family, and then for the family my parents made, I'm the eldest kid. So there are all these things that I was thinking about in putting together Them Gone, and then that there are many people I knew, I'll say like the poet Ted Jones and poets that I knew in New York City who have departed, and I wanted to honor them. So the book is my monument. My monument to these wonderful beloveds. I think I was quite fortunate to have parents that I thought were peerless. My father had a teacher in junior high school who lived with him. And that teacher happened to be County Cullen, the renowned Black poet. So I grew up with books. We had 3 encyclopedias, and I grew up with poetry and being encouraged to read and write. And my mother was my first secretary because I don't know, however my brain didn't work, I wasn't literate like as early as I might have been. So instead, I dictate to her and she'd write them down for me. So that's just some, you know, stray thoughts about my past and my work and my upbringing. And then I was talking to someone about the multicultural landscape that I grew up in. I mentioned that in a poem. That's very important and dear to me and informs me greatly. And then as a young poet in New York City in the 70s, I talked about how it occurred to me that I could read at the African Poets Theater. Okay, so that gives a clue there. The New Eurekan Poets Cafe, because it had just opened, and I worked with people there. The Basement Workshop, which was in Chinatown, or, and I'm forgetting the name of it, but, or the Native American House. I'm thinking about this, how we all were together and worked together. And I'm in one of the earliest anthologies, multi-ethnic anthologies called Ordinary Women, which had editors, had Latinx, that's the word we use now, I suppose, Latinx editor, an Asian American editor, an African American editor, Euro American, I don't know. I mean, early on. So collectivism, organizing, all of that informs me and informs my work, even though I exist in exile. And there's still, oh my gosh, so I thought I was, okay, let me see if I can see any more. Would love to hear more, someone says, all right, and there's still 7 minutes. So I don't know which one to do. Okay, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm in the first anthology of Black erotica. I'm also in the first anthology of African American science fiction, but I couldn't find a short science fiction poem, but I could find a short enough erotic poem called Old Flame. He asks if I still feel there, where he once sang me open, and we rejoiced in melding our difference into fire rivers, lava blossoms of myrrh and rose, feathered plumes of spirit birds. Can he come see me? Broken in this unknown pain-drenched country, a high vault around that juicy door, whose pillars of flesh are now stone, that must be lifted by hand, winched by sock, slid, levered, jiggered into spasmodic position, stuttering, inarticulate, waterlogged, that he can't awaken, that I can't unbind. Okay, so I'm going to look back, let's see. No, I'm going this way. No questions? Oh, okay, why do I exist in exile? I came to this part of the world as a young engaged person, and my marriage failed and I was here, and then I wanted to be near my sister's family, and then I thought I'll stay and continue to create, because I fell in love with glass making and I fell in love with paper making, and it was affordable to be here. And just when I thought maybe I wanted to return home to the city versus being in a place that, while it was nourishing very singularly, wasn't nourishing in the ways that I'd experienced community. And I think I told you a bit about some of the ways in which I experienced community, and that's not here. I was struck with an by some unidentified cause that rendered me paralyzed. And so that kind of sealed the deal for at least for a while. I got a grant to get my home made accessible. There is a name for what it is, but no one knows why it is, and it's called idiopathic, which means the idiots have no clue why. Idiopathic transverse myelitis, which left me paraplegic. So that's another reason why this is particularly wonderful, because doing readings is difficult in a place without paratransit, and this enables me to reach and talk to people that I could not otherwise. So thank you again, Poets in Pajamas. And we still have time. So if there are any more questions, there's 3 more minutes. Maybe I shouldn't do the countdown, but that will help. So, and I talk a lot, don't I? Sorry. I could say so much. Well, okay, since I don't see another question and I don't want to talk about me, I'll end with this. I think this will take us until in case another question appears. It doesn't have a title, but in certain ways, I saw it kind of as a compromise of some of what I'm thinking about. Even though you have religion, you worship with me, words and words, this world to save. My Jesus body is broken, an unrisen cripple rolls toward you, hoping to wield smart weapons, heal the inattention to essentials, reality. I too craved cunning purses to carry petty aesthetics of fashion's fleeting moment, ignored burdens to be borne, to be laid down, or left as tips in diners, spent petals scattered on petroleum shining seas. I too drank wild rivers, fractured sensory meaning into chemical transcendences, blooming trees in Bronx, Harlem, Brooklyn, wherever concrete cracked, bent by loss, smacked by grief upon too soon gone grief. Legion of my superheroes thinned to wee few, bent shoulder to shoulder, murmuring prayers and half-remembered incantations, tracing song lines through steel canyons, huddled around an ash can, fire roasting yams against the cold. Feed our dreaming multitude. And thank you all for joining me in that endeavor. So I shall look to see. Okay, so thank you, Zan. The relationship between my poetry and my visual art. I don't know. Visual art. This is not my art so much as my crafts. I was showing this before. This is yucca, and that is the figures are corn. They feed each other, but not in a direct way. I've been trying more and more to make them less silos, so that maybe I put some words in my art, in my paper making, or in my crochet, and I've done that. And I have indeed written about, I have a chapbook's worth of poems about crocheting, and I have poems about art making. So thank you, Zan. That's one way I can talk about the relationship. And I now see it's 1 minute over. So I should say once again, thank you for attending, all you who attended Thank you for listening. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Poets in Pajamas, for hosting this wonderful occasion to reach, to connect, to make community. Oh, thank you. Blessings to all. Wish you all well. Be well. Know joy.